Making sense of fractions in measurements. Hello, learners! Today, we are diving into a very practical and fascinating application of fractions, which is in measurements. We use fractions in measurements every day, probably without even realizing it. Whether you're cooking, building something, or even checking the time, fractions help us understand and communicate precise amounts. Remember, mastering this topic can make your life a lot easier. One common use of fractions in measurements is in cooking. For example, a recipe might call for 1/2 cup of sugar or 3/4 teaspoon of salt. These are fractions. 1/2, 1/2, and 3/4 are fractions used to measure ingredients precisely. Let's say you're making pancakes for 3 people, but the recipe is for 6. You'd need to use 1/2, or 1/2, of each ingredient amount. Here, fractions are crucial for adjusting the recipe correctly. Another place you'll see fractions in measurements is in construction or carpentry. A board might be 3/4 inch thick, or a nail might be 2.5 inches long. Again, these are fractions used in measurements. They allow builders and carpenters to be very exact, which is essential when building or creating something. Finally, we also use fractions when dealing with time. For example, we might say that an hour has passed, and it's 1/2 past the current hour. That 1/2 is a fraction. When we say it's 1/4 past or 1/4 to an hour, we're also using fractions. Quarter here means 1/4 or 1/4. So, even our daily expression of time involves the use of fractions. So there you have it. Fractions are an integral part of measurements in various areas of our lives, from cooking to building to simply telling time. They allow us to be precise and make sense of the world around us. Keep practicing and using fractions in your daily life, and you'll see how essential and straightforward they can be. We hope this video has given you a better understanding of the real-world applications of fractions, particularly in measurements. Remember, keep learning, and have fun while doing it.